Hi, welcome to my video on Review 3. This video is on the full unit of review. That's the ellipse, parabola, and hyperbola. So this review is treated as a quiz marked at a 36. Do your markings for each question, put your score down for each question, total up the page, add up all the pages, put it over 36 and convert it to a percent. Here we go. Review on the whole unit. Match each circle, ellipse, parabola, hyperbola. And first equation is we got x squared, y squared with a minus and a plus. So that means that we have a hyperbola. I just put an H for hyperbola. If you have that, that's one mark. This one has x squared, y squared with a plus sign. So it's either a circle or an ellipse. Because the a squared and the b squared are different, it's an ellipse. So we'll say E for ellipse. And this is x squared, y squared with a plus sign, but the a squared and the b squared is the same. That means we have an equation. The horizontal stretch and the vertical stretch are the same, so that's the radius of the circle 4. So this is a circle. And here we have an x squared with a no y squared, just a y, so this is a parabola. So if you have each of those, give yourself 4 marks. B, now we have the equations in general form. We got an x squared and a y squared, a plus sign, but a and b are different, so this is an ellipse. Here we have a y squared with no x squared, so we have a parabola. And here we have x squared, y squared, one is plus and one is minus, so that's a hyperbola. And here we have an x squared and a y squared, where the a and the b is the same, so therefore we have, if we divide here, we'll get positive and a positive, so this is a circle. And here we have x times y, and we practice that, and that's a special hyperbola. So if you have each of those correct, give yourself 5 marks, or a mark for each one that's correct. Eccentricity value, E. If the eccentricity is 1, that means we have a parabola, because the distance from the point to the focus is equal to the distance from the point to the vertex, to the directrix, sorry. If the eccentricity is greater than 1, that means the foci is further than the vertices, so that means we have a hyperbola. And if the eccentricity is 0, that means the two foci are the same. They go together, so that brings us to a circle, and that means we have a constant ratio, and we have a circle. Radius is the same from the center to a point. And the eccentricity is between 0 and 1, that means we have an ellipse. The closer we get to 1, the closer we get to a line. The closer we get to 0, the closer the ellipse becomes oval, having a circle. And so that's 13 points for that page. Total up your points, and hopefully everything is going well. Find the solutions, or solutions for each. So we have an equation here equal to 0, and is equal to 0, so it looks like a circle, and it looks like a circle with a center of 2, -4. But the radius of the circle is 0, so that means that we have a point. So that's the solution. So the solution of this is the point 2, -4. Give yourself a mark. And right here again is equal to 0, so we have a x, y is common, so we take the x, y out, we get x. Take the x, y out here, we get a 4. So that means we have x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0, or we have x minus 4 equals 0, which means we have x is equal to 4. So these are the values of x, but really, because we have this special equation, so that means this is x equals 0. That could be a line. That's the x equals 0 is the y-axis. So not only is x equals 0, but any point that lies on the y-axis that has a 0 is a solution. And right here, y equals 0 is the x-axis, so that's the x-axis. So any point on the x-axis will have y 0, so that's a line. When we have x equals 4, so any point where x is 4, again, x is 4 is a vertical line, so that's the vertical line. That's the, if I can spell vertical line, that's the line, vertical line, x equals 4. So if you say you have these values and you say a line, but understand that if x is 4, y is 0, if x is 0, y is 0, and x is 4, then if you have that, give yourself a mark, but they're lines. Number 3, we have x squared, y squared. So if this is factorable, we got x, y in the middle, so that means we have x squared, so that's x and x. We have a y squared, so that's a y and a y. Because it ends in the plus, the product is plus and the sum is negative, we have a negative and a negative. Factors of 3 to give you 4 must be 3 and 1. So that means we got x minus 3y equals 0, or x minus y equals 0. So negative 3y equals negative x divided by negative 3, y equals 1/3 x. And right here, negative y equals negative x divided by negative 1, y is equal to x. So the solution here is any points that satisfy this line will make this equation true. So any points that you pick. So if you pick x is 0, that means y is 0. If you pick x is 3, y is 1. So any points that make this equation true satisfy this equation up here. And x equals y, that means we could have 0 equals 0. We could have 1 equals 1. We could have 2 equals 2. When x equals y, any one of these points will satisfy this. So the solution here are these two lines. Give yourself a mark. Find the equation of the Lipton standard form, but the vertices are negative 14, 1, 6, 1, and the foci is 2, 1. So what I'm going to do is draw a picture. Let's see. So we have the vertices at negative 14, so let's just pretend negative 14, 1 is right here. And 6, 1, x is 6, y is 1 right here without going really to a scale. And so that's the vertices, and there's a foci at 2, 1. So x is 2, the foci is right here. So what we have is that the midpoint of the vertices, so the center is the midpoint of the vertices. So negative 14 add on 6 divided by 2. Oops, didn't need that bracket there. And 1 plus 1 divided by 2. So the center is negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So the center is negative 4, 1. And notice that the vertices are horizontal. So this equation is horizontal in relation to the ellipse. So that means it's the major axis is horizontal, the minor axis is vertical. So that means that if this is the center right here, so we mark C for center. So the center is here. So the distance from the vertice to here, that distance of A, so from negative 14 to a 4, that means that A is 10, plus or minus 10. So that means we have A is 10. So the distance from the center to the focus, so this foci here is a 2. So this is a negative 4. So from negative 14 to negative 4 is 10. From negative 4 to 2, so that means this distance here, from the center to the focus is C. So that means that C is 6. So we got C is 6. So to get the equation, we need the B. So that means that we have C squared is A squared minus B squared. So C squared is 6 squared, and A squared is 10 squared. So that's 36. That's 100 equals negative b squared. So negative b squared is negative 64. B squared is 64. So we can get the b. B is plus or minus square root of 64, 8. But we don't, to get the equation, we don't need the b. But let's continue. Since it's horizontal, the equation of the ellipse is x minus h all squared over a squared plus y minus k all squared over b squared equals 1. So the center is x is negative 4, so this is x plus 4. And the y, that's a 1, so this is a y minus 1. A squared, a is 10, so a squared is 100. B is 8, but b squared right here is 64. So this is the equation that represents this ellipse. And to distribute the marks, because if you got all the way to here, you got 6 marks. But what I did, I gave a mark for here, and a mark for this one, and a mark for this, and I gave a mark for the B, and I gave a mark if you had the equation written like this, and 2 parts. So 6 marks altogether. Total up your page, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 for that page. Let's continue with the review. Now we have a parabola, and notice this parabola is x equals, so this parabola, because x equals y squared, is going to go horizontal, left or right. Because it's negative, it's going to go to the left, and we'll see that when we finish the graph here. But the name of this is a parabola, and if you have a parabola, give yourself a mark. The vertex, now we can rearrange the parabola, but the vertex is really, this is y plus 3, so the y value is negative 3. When y is negative 3, x is 2. We could rearrange the equation as y minus 2, negative 1 over 16. I'm sorry, x, that's x minus 2, and y plus 3 squared. So even if we rearrange the equation like this in the point slope form, not point slope, point form, x is 2, y is negative 3 if you have it here, or you can also take it out of here. Again, if you have the vertex of 2, negative 3, give yourself, didn't put a 1 there. So that means the total on this page is going to be, this is going to be a 9. Oh, I forgot to put the 1 in to make the total on this page a 9. Just a little tiny error. So let's concentrate on the question, foci. So if you think about it, you have a vertex and a foci, so that means the equation is, we have x minus h 1 over 4p y minus k squared. So that means that 1 over 4p is going to equal negative 1 over 16. Cross multiply, negative 4p equals 16. Divide by negative 4, p is negative 4. So that means that this is going to go sideways, so it's this value of negative 4 is added to the x. So the foci is, the x value is, the vertex is, p is the distance from the vertex, so it's 2, negative 4, negative 3. So the foci is negative 2, negative 3. And if you have this value, give yourself a mark, and if you have this point, give yourself a mark. 2 marks altogether. And the directrix. So the directrix is on the other side. So the directrix, again, if your point is 2 and negative 3, the directrix on the other side, so instead of being a minus 4, is a plus 4. So your directrix point is 6, negative 3. So your directrix is perpendicular to your axis of symmetry, so if the parabola is moving sideways, then your directrix is a vertical line, so it's going to be x equals 6. So if you have x equals 6, give yourself a mark. Now let's draw this parabola. We have a vertex of 2, negative 3. So x is 2, y is negative 3. That's here. That's your vertex. And your focus is x is negative 2, y is negative 3. So that's your, right here, that's your focus. And your directrix is x equals 6. So x is 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's a vertical line. And there's your directrix of x equals negative 6. So your parabola will have the focus inside because it's negative, because x equals y squared, it's going this way. And if you want to verify that, what you do, you could let say x equals 0 here and solve this out to get what these points are, but I'm just roughly drawing what the parabola is doing. So there's the focus inside of the parabola. There's the directrix, so it's 4. Notice it's minus 4 units here, and there's a 4 plus 4 units here. And that's the graph of the parabola. And if you have the vertex plotted correctly, the focus plotted correctly, directrix done right, and you have the parabola looping this way, so that's 4 marks in total. And so that, again, I didn't put this one in, but now for this page I have a total of 9. That means I have one more on the total on the first page. And the last question, and the last topic of this unit was the equation of the hyperbola. So in standard form, so the center is negative 1, 2. PF1 minus PF2 is 16. Eccentricity is 1 1/4. The foci lie on the vertical line. Well, let's see. Let's draw a picture. I always like the center. X is negative 1 and y is 2. And it says the foci lie on the vertical line. So if this is the center, the focus is on the vertical line. So let's say the focus is here and here, not being particular, roughly what the number is. I'm just saying they're on the vertical line. So that means, because they're on the vertical line, that means that we have a y minus k squared over b squared, subtract x minus h squared over a squared equals 1. It's because we have the foci and the vertices on the vertical. That means the y is positive and the x is negative. So that means that PF1 minus PF2 equals 16. That means that PF1 plus PF2 is equal to 2A or 2B. But in this case, because it's vertical, I'm saying it's 2B. So 2B is 16. So that means B is 8. Now we have an eccentricity. The eccentricity is 1 1/4. 1 1/4 is 1 times 4 is 4 plus 1 is, so that's 5 over 4. But the eccentricity is the C over the A or the C over the B. In this case, because it's vertical, is the C over the B. That means that 5 over 4 equals C over B. But B is 8. So 5 over 4 equals C over 8. Cross multiply, we get 4C, 5/8 are 40, divide by 4, C is 10. Now, in a hyperbola, we have that C squared is A squared plus B squared. C is 10, so it's 10 squared. And we have B is 8, so it's 8 squared. So that gives us 100 minus 64 equals A squared. So A squared is 36. Again, I do the A is plus or minus 6, but to get the equation, I don't need the A, I just need the A squared. So what we have this equation. So we have the center is, 1 2, negative 1, 2, better be careful. So this equation is y, and that's a 2, so this is y minus 2 squared, and I'll continue. I'll do the x, so this is a minus, so this is x plus 1 squared, and the y is over the b, so b squared. B squared, as you can see right here, b is 8, so b squared is 64, and the a squared is, a is 6, a squared is 36. So this is the equation of the hyperbola representing this information. And we have 6 marks, so I assign the marks by saying if you have b is 8, give yourself a mark. If you have c is 10, give yourself a mark. If you have a is 36 or a is 6, give yourself a mark. And we have, if you have this equation correctly, with y is the plus and x is the minus, give yourself a mark. And if you fill in this correctly and this part correctly, there's an extra mark each, so there's 6 marks. Total up your page, and you have it out of 6. Then you total up all your pages, and go back to the first page. If I can find that first page. Don't know where it's gone. Oh, there it is. I had to add 1 extra on because I didn't. So this is marked out of 37. So you divide your total 37 into your total and convert it to a decimal and move your decimal 2 places to the right to get a percent. Hopefully your unit on conics that has the foci, you know or understand what's happening. And remember, there's a whole unit also on conics in Algebra 2, but it has no foci in it. So look over that unit, don't forget. And if you like my video, click the like button, click the subscribe button if you want to subscribe to my channel. Visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. And that's the content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Just one word. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video helped you. Bye-bye.